Welcome back to the channel. Today we are replacing the hazard light switch on a C5 Corvette. If you're just looking for the how-to, jump to this part of the video. But for everyone else, here is the biggest symptom to know that yours is failing and it needs to be replaced. If your turn signals are not turning on properly using your turn signal stock, but your light bulbs are not out, so your running lights are still working, your tail lights and everything are fine. And first of all, when this is on, you can just literally walk around your car and see if all four corners are working. Make sure you have no bulbs out. But for whatever reason, you flip the turn signal stock and the light just doesn't come on for the turn signal. Mash the crap out of this. Just do like this. After you do that, your turn signal stock should start working for a little bit again. However, the length of time your turn signal stock will work for is dependent on how far gone this switch is. So if this is just starting to go out, you should get a couple weeks out of it. That's how mine was when I first noticed this problem about a year ago, but now, a year later, this thing has degraded more. So when I mash the crap out of it like that, I can get through about 4 intersections before I start having the same problem. And with that, let's get into the repair here. First thing to do is flip this up. I've pulled out the ashtray already. There are 2 screws. One is here below where the ashtray is, and one is here to the left all the way next to the cigarette lighter / outlet location. You need a T15 Torx bit. Pull both of those out. That's going to be the first thing we do. Good news is you've got this little ashtray to store all your loose bolts in. Look at that. Ingenuity at its finest. You may have to shift depending on how long your ratchet or screwdriver is. This whole thing isn't going to pop out quite yet. First, you got to remove a little bit upstream, and there's also another bolt to the left of the ignition. So it's a little bit out of frame here, but this little cover more or less just pops off with finger pressure if you just grab it from the bottom, and there is a tiny little bolt behind it. Closest size I can find for that bolt is either a 7mm or a 9/32. They both seem to be a little bit off, but they're fairly close. Oh, I need an extension apparently. Then we're going to come over here and pry this front corner pretty much right behind where it says active handling, and you will find 2 more bolts right here down below where you have your active handling button. Now, if this is in your way, if you want, very quick and easy to unplug this. So more or less, you're putting the screwdriver here under this end, you're trying to pry up this tab, and as you do that, you're pulling the entire assembly out. So these 2 bolts here are 10mm. There's nothing that says American car to me quite like having everything in metric. Again, you don't want to lose these. Removable ashtray is a great place to store them. Now that these 10mm are removed, our next part is to remove this piece. But the problem is this cigarette lighter is in the way. So if you want, you can remove that plug. That gives you a little bit more room, but people like me are not bold enough to just send it and try to bend the console around that. But here in this back corner and then here in this back corner, there are 2 more sockets. They should have a cover over the top of them. The cover pops off with a screwdriver, and then again, you're going to break out the 10mm to get those 2 off. Pop off this socket that was already concerningly loose. Should be about this big though. All right. This should lift out and slide back just a little bit. You don't really have to pull it off all the way. E-brake back up, this back out of the way. This should come forward. This ring on the bottom is actually what's going to hold your shifts around in place, so that'll come out. Then you can remove the entire console around it. So a little bit of maneuvering there, but you actually do not need to remove this shifter. You might have to move your handbrake and you might have to move your wiper stock, but you should be able to get this off with a little bit of persuasion, we'll say. Now, your next 2 ways to do this are either 1, take off this top part of the dash and peel it up to get to this, or just take the radio out and get at it from underneath. So I think that's a lot easier for most people. We're gonna go forward with that method. And dashboards, if you screw up, are a lot more expensive to replace, especially considering an aftermarket radio is probably a worthwhile upgrade on a car of this age. These are both 7mm sockets, again, continuing the theme of metric bolts in an American car. And these have not been removed since this car was new, because wow, those were in there. Same thing on the bottom, 2 more 7mm for the HVAC controls. My fingers are too fat to fit in this stupid little gap. Okay. Now, I pulled out the HVAC control so I could reach under and then pop out the radio from the back. Mine was pretty stuck in there. This is the original factory radio, and this has never been removed. Now, if you can just pull this out on its own, you don't have to do the HVAC controls. However, mine was pretty stuck. Now, I don't want to remove any of these cables here in the back because I don't know if this has some sort of an anti-theft device installed. I don't want to brick this out. I want to keep this interior as stock as possible. So for that reason, not touching this quite yet. But if you are doing an aftermarket radio, now's a good time to do it. Here is the replacement part number, and pulling this out of the box, we can see that both on the top and the bottom, there are these little tabs that are going to lock it into place. And the reason we know that is if we go up under inside to here, you can see one of those two. So there's going to be another one on the top side as well, which means we are going to have a lot of fun getting that out of the console. All right, I've got mediocre lighting. Let's see what we can do with this. So first, just pry that off. Very easy to take out. Next, this is going to be the challenging part. So ideally, this is the new one here. You pinch the top and the bottom at the exact same time, and then you can press the face out. In practice, I don't know whose hands this was designed for, because I literally can't fit past my wrist. At this point, if you have a smaller hand or smaller arms, what you can probably do is reach up directly through here and to this. My angle is just a little bit off. Otherwise, you will have to remove this panel here below the steering wheel. Now, this is simple. You had that one bolt you took out there. You have two more. I can feel them. One is right here, and one is right there. Just for posterity's sake, I'm going to try showing it without doing this to show you how much of a contortionist you have to be. But if you have arms that are larger than these string beans, you might want to just save yourself the hassle and get rid of this now. I don't know what life choices I've made that have led me here, but just know that I regret them.
Alright, so I spent a lot of time trying to pull this thing out delicately, and I'm going to tell you right now, don't waste any time whatsoever playing a contortionist. And while you still have to remove these interior panels to get the new one in, instead of trying to jiggle your arm up and through the back of this thing, instead try this, which will make it come out a lot easier.
I'm admitting defeat. I'm just putting it up to the side and a lot more arm room. Do yourself a favor, take out those two extra bolts. All right, maybe I should have started with that. Step one, smack the shit out of it. Now I'm gonna add a little caveat here. That was a lack of patience to just hammer it out. And as a result of that, I can see the little tabs that it's supposed to lock into are a little bit deformed, both top and bottom. I don't know if the camera's gonna really pick that up because of the light angle, but it's very visible in person. We'll find out momentarily whether or not that actually creates an issue with the new one holding into place, but you have to snake it pretty much up and around the back, then down here on the side to get it out. Then you finally have access to this thing. So the good news is, this is the easy part. Press the thing, should pop out fairly easily with the screwdriver. This is the old one, it's burnt, it's crispy, this front's a different color. It's garbage, it's gone. Here's our new boy. Clicks right in, look at that. Now we snake it back up. Pretend that we didn't just waste so much of our life digging this out. And you can reach a finger through here as well. And a really weird tip here, it's hard to see the alignment of this thing, but if you turn on the hazard lights, the button you're pushing in is suddenly flashing, which means you literally have a lit up thing that you're working on, which makes it a little bit easier, although it's a little bit annoying to stare into. Now going back to my old broken one, here on the side where my thumb is, and then here, top and bottom, those are keyed entryways and there's slots. So you have to put it in perfectly straight or else it's not gonna go in. So just be aware of that. If you don't line it up all the way straight from the back, it's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen, and just give up now. But now that it's in, button just clicks back into place. Check the alignment on it. It should be pretty well centered. Not that 90s GM build quality is the best anyway. And now we just put everything back together. Literally everything is the reverse order of what you did to take it apart. So start with this, get this, that back on, and just work your way back. It's really straightforward. So with that, Let's go to time lapse. The interior is now back together, and it was all very straightforward, and don't worry too much about getting perfect fitment, because honestly, even if you're a little bit off, you're still going to be on par with late 90s and early 2000s GM quality. But with that out of the way, turn the key to the on position, make sure I got no mystical warning lights. We're good. And now my turn signals just work normally. And with that, congratulations, you have completed one of the 2 most obnoxious but necessary jobs to fix on a C5. Now you can clean up your tools, and I would also vacuum out the carpet because all that crap that was around the cable, yeah, that makes a little bit of a mess. But with that, I am gonna go hide in my air conditioning again because this is miserably warm and I am not having fun. But thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.